Hello, another day, another video, and we're back on the Sierra, and guess what, we're pulling it apart again because we still got issues with it overheating. We took it out a couple of times, only a couple of times, and it just cooks itself. We've kind of looked at all the possibilities and we've come up with a few solutions or theories as to what's going on with it, and one of the issues I think is that we bought this eBay rad that looks more like an intercooler than a radiator core, and actually looking at some of the other reviews of it, people are saying that it allows too much flow through it and therefore doesn't actually cool the water efficiently, and the core, like the actual tube size, is massive, so I don't think it's a very efficient or decent rad, and it weighs a ton. So basically we've gone to bespoke motorsport radiators and they've hooked us up with this awesome looking radiator core, and now I've got the fun task of designing end tanks that kind of mimic these, carefully welding them on without cocking up this, and then we're going to bang a new radiator core in it. I'm also going to redo a completely covered shroud with a bit of a depth to it, mount the fans on the back, so then when they're pulling through, they're actually pulling through the whole matrix, weld all that onto it. And then Adam's also looking at the where our thermostat's mounted is in, we've got an Ike water rail, which is right down the back there, so the thermostat's in the back, so we're going to swap out the thermostat, but we're also going to relocate the thermostat in this crazy device, which is a remote thermostat holder, because all our sensors, this is one of the issues we had, is if the thermostat's not opening properly, our water temp sensor for the ECU and our gauge is all after the thermostat. So if the engine's cooking itself up nicely, which it has done with the other engine where we've done the head gasket, and this one where we were driving it the other day and it was getting hot, you don't know because the readings are all being taken after the thermostat. So our theory is if we can mount this down here and have all of the sensors before it, that should help us out. And then new rad, shrouded fans, hopefully we're back up and running and not overheating. So taking all the inlet off and whipped the thermostat housing off. This is the Ike Mad-Mac thermostat housing, and for now we're just going to take the thermostat out and run it with no thermostat, because a few of our mates do that and they don't seem to have any problems. And if it does run super cold, then we can look at putting in our inline thermostat down on the front for now, and then we can rejig this pipe down underneath the inlet, and probably, if that works, if we need to run it, tidy up that pipe and mount the thermostat housing more towards the back of the engine. But I think it's going to work fine with no thermostat in personally. There's that. I've got to just weld up, there's a little pinhole in this, so I'm just going to weld that up whilst I'm welding the radiator up. I've just been measuring the old rad, the new core, the fan dimensions, doing a little schematic, and then tomorrow I'll get into work early and draw all this up and work out making little trays for the end tanks, get all them folding up, do new brackets, do a nicer job of the top mounts, and I'm also going to do like actual folded channels top and bottom. This has got an angle on the bottom, but I think I'll do one top and bottom just to give it a bit more strength across the core. Yeah, and then I've got some pipe for the inlets and the outlets, so I can cut them to size, weld them in. Here you can really see the difference between the two radiator cores. So you've got this fat intercooler looking core and the bespoke motorsport fine dainty little, much more surface area and much smaller tubes. So I think this is definitely going to sort out our problems. If not, eBay hard. So just testing the old stat in boiling water. I can't see that it's actually opening. So now we're going to try our brand new stat, which is a lower temperature stat, so that should open straight up, no? Yeah, that's well open. That was a good test to do. We had a dud thermostat, that cost us an engine, and nearly cost us that engine. We're going to run no thermostat and see how that goes, and if it runs too cold then we can always put that in the top hose just to get us up and running. But we're still probably going to persevere with redoing the rad because I bought the core now, so we've pretty much committed. Hey hey. something to do. These bits are all laser cut up. Next is to set the folding machine up, brake press, and fold them all up, and then I'm good to start blobbing it all in and welding them up. So that's all the bits folded up. I've just offered these bits up. I need to just tighten up the end caps, weld up the ends, weld them on, and then the fan shroud should belt on, something like that. Booyah. And I've got the mounts to the side. So that's the end caps welded up. I'm just going to push them on, and using a bit of stainless steel to protect the core, weld them up. Hopefully not make too much of a mess of it. Pretty nervous at this point, but we'll see how we get on. Just got to take the time, don't rush it. So that's the end tanks all tack welded on. Now it's time to blob it in properly and run the seam all the way around the end tanks. But I will have to drill holes in it to let the pressure out. So I'll do that before I finish off the last weld. Okay, so that's all the sides welded on. And next up, I've just marked, and I'm going to centre punch and hole saw out this area so that I can then weld these on. Although I do need to put a little knurl on the end of that, which I'll probably do at Zach's tomorrow. But at least if I open that up, it'll let some of the pressure out, and I can finish off welding the end caps on, and then look to mount the top rail and the bottom rail. I'll get that done tonight, hopefully. Once again, down at Powers, just used his swaging tool to put some swages on the end of these pipes. This is all for the Sierra. And also, we swaged the little pipes for the radiator. Zach's actually kindly welded these on because I was worried that I was going to cock them up. So now we need to test it, see how much it leaks like a sieve. So just fill it up with water and we'll see where it all pours out, and I'll cry.
You've got a Sharpie to like circle the holes.
That's cool. That's alright. When you put your face over that, and I just go, boff.
Tongue looks dry.
I'll be damned. So, the core doesn't look like it leaks, so I can carry on doing the top rails and the fan shroud. And I've also just, on the Fiesta exhaust manifold, just ported out this hole because I only hole sawed it a while back, so I had a big old step in there. So I've just ground out, made it all nice and smooth so it all flows properly. Next stage, I need to, I'm just trimming down these folded sections for the top and shortening them in the width, and I'm going to weld that on to one foot side, and then I've got the U channel here for the underside, and I've just trimmed back the returns on that. Just going to linish back that to get it all kind of even along the length, and then I've got to deal with the fan shroud. And I don't know what I've done here, but in my infinite wisdom I've measured something wrong and this doesn't actually fit, so I've actually made the fan shroud too wide by probably about, I don't know, 30 mil, so, well, maybe even more than that. So I need to chop back the return, and I'm just going to weld on an end to it and sand it all back because I can't be bothered to fold another one. I haven't got time for that. Yeah, hopefully I'll get this all buttoned up today, and then this can go back in the car and we can get it back up and running, because Classic Ford Show is next week, and we are intending to tape the Sierra to the Classic Ford show. Fiesta won't be ready for obvious reasons. It's still got 101 things on the list of things to do. Yeah, hopefully we can at least get one car there. A little top tip, always use a piece of scrap stainless steel whenever you're welding anywhere near the core, because obviously one flare of the arc will munch away any of the little fins, the delicate little fins, and possibly break through one of the tubes. Still can't work out how I've managed to make this 18mm both sides too big, but hey hey, nothing that an angle grinder and a welder can't sort out. Love cutting up car parts. So just going to cut this angle, and this is going to be the bottom runner or rail underneath the radiator, and the fan trail is actually going to mount into this. I'll probably bang some riv nuts in it or something. So this angle I'm going to weld on underneath and then pick up on those bits. However, it's got quite a bit of an overhang. Just going to try and notch some of this material off on the return chomp. Okay, next up, going to guillotine some strips. So it's 306. So just welding these end caps on the chopped down shroud, and then I'll linish that back, and it should look like I haven't had to do this, hopefully. And then yeah, just going to weld this little angle on the bottom, and then I can mount that to that. So I've linched back the welds on these ends where I've capped them, and I'm just going to go over it all with a Scotch-Brite to mat it all up. Time to mount the fans. Now I've just got to offer this up, mark it, drill it, and I'm going to riv nut, put riv nuts in this end, and then run the M6 bolts through to bolt the fan shroud. So that's the radiator, all complete. Not bad for a desk monkey who doesn't do welding or fabrication for a living. Pretty happy with that. So yeah, just got to get it back in the car, fill it up with water, and get to Classic Ford show. I've put some neoprene down here just to fill in the gaps so that the tray is completely kind of sealed to the back, so all the air gets drawn through the matrix and it doesn't actually suck through any of the gaps that had a bit of a gap at the top. So hopefully that sorts that issue out. Okay, so gone to go and fit the rad, and then we fast realised that these top corners with the top tabs on the left and right actually hit on the boost pipes, which I didn't account for. See, I've got a sore throat, and I've also managed to lose the O-ring for our thermostat housing, so I'm going to just have to, this one doesn't fit, I'm going to have to make something up. We'll just seal it up and hope for the best, but you know that's going to end up leaking once we put it all back together, and it's right awkward to get to. Of course I'm cutting up my newly made rad, because it doesn't bloody fit. Yep. Time to mount the fan shroud. Hopefully this fits now. I have had to obviously take these bits off and just scallop that bit out because it's real tight on the bottom hose. And it's tight on everything else, as always.
And always put a bit of an angle on it, couldn't you, as opposed to have it square if necessary.
Something to do. This will get us by. This will get us to classic Ford show. Get us back up and running. What's next? Thermostat housing.
Thermostat housing.
And run all the water lines back down the front.
Yep.
We've got a new Samco on the way, like a 90-degree silicone hose, so that we can actually squish it. Because before we had all this hard pipes, and we couldn't actually tell where the water was and whether or not it was getting hot and what have you. Interesting technique you've gone for. It's just how awkward putting a front-wheel drive engine in a rear-wheel drive car is. Getting the thermostat housing back on the back with a bulkhead and a half a dozen pipes and wires in the way. Excuse me. Yeah.
It's not an ask what big this is.
As long as it's not denting the nice new fins on the rad, I don't care. So I've just offered up the air filter trumpet thing that I've made, the funnel, and obviously I didn't take into consideration the extra depth on the fan shroud, so this doesn't really fit. It's all kind of binding up on that, so it looks like we'll be running the trumpet for a little bit longer. Hey ho, it's the thought that counts. I think the trumpet looks better, to be fair.
Oh, it does. We were trying to look after our engine
Yeah, that we've broken
and rebuilt.
numerous times, so
Fixed.
fixed. So that's it for another video. Thanks again for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and until next time I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.